for a job that was already filled.
Humiliation, disbelief, anger.
There is currently just one black head coach among them.
Get CBS News Radio on the Odyssey app. All the audio that matters to you is on Odyssey. News, music, sports, and podcasts. Download the Odyssey app today.
Guys, stop putting your love life on hold. U.S. Pharmacy has some exciting news. If you've been wanting to try Viagra or Cialis, now's the perfect time. Call today and receive 90 little blue or little yellow pills for only $1.19 with free shipping. Why order some low-dose sildenafil from one of those subscription services when we can give you what you want now? Call 800-711-6818 and we'll rush your order discreetly packaged to your door. And thinking about trying Viagra or Cialis? Call U.S. Pharmacy at 800-711-6818 for as little as only $1.19 for 90 pills. Need your package in a hurry? Call 800-711-6818 and ask about our express shipping option, and we'll rush your order to you as soon as possible. Save money on this little blue or yellow pill you've been wanting to try. Again, 800-711-6818 now. That's 800-711-6818.
WWL First News. I'm Tom Bruman on your official weather station, WWL-AMFM.com.
A good Sunday morning, starting off rather cold once again across the area. Bundle up if you're heading out. We are looking at daytime highs climbing into the mid-50s this afternoon under mostly sunny conditions. As we head into tonight, clouds will continue to increase across the area, and we're looking at another cold start to our morning as we begin our Monday, but I do expect temperatures to remain above freezing.
Your local weather expert, WWL-TV meteorologist Michelle Morgan. Jefferson Parish sheriffs are hunting for a man who attacked a nurse at an Ochsner medical facility. WWL-TV's Devin Bartolotta has the story.
Jefferson Parish officials have identified the man they suspect brutally attacked a nurse at Ochsner. Officials are looking for 48-year-old Quincy Quinn of New Orleans. He's wanted on a warrant for a battery of a healthcare worker. If you know where Quinn might be or you have any other information, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers at 504-822-1111. They've offered a reward of $12,500.
In an effort to cut juvenile crime, a Southwest Louisiana prosecutor says his office will start charging teens who commit violent crimes like murder or rape as adults. District Attorney Don Landry said his office, which covers Acadia, Lafayette, and Vermilion parishes, is prepared to move in that direction. He says they must act aggressively to prosecute juveniles as adults if they choose to commit violence. Even though the crew of Chewbacca's had to give up marching in the Maroney, it didn't mean it wouldn't support Maroney businesses. WWL's Sam Lindstrom reports.
Take the party back to St. Claude Avenue and support the businesses that have always supported them. And the people came out in force.
We were kind of afraid we were going to tear on Kenny. We don't feel that right now, so we love it. I love our community for sure.
And even though the parade never set foot on St. Claude Avenue, the party came back to the Maroney.
Historically, this is their biggest night of the year, and it's really important for us to support them.
Still an amazing show of support from their community.
Now here's Christian Garrick with WWL Sports.
NFL Pro Bowl today in Las Vegas. 4 Saints players will take the field today for the NFC. J.T. Gray, Cam Jordan, Marshawn Lattimore, and running back Alvin Kamara, who says he's getting used to these trips to the All-Star game.
It's another day, man. Practice with the incredible Cam Jordan. Out here. I think it's turning into a regular occurrence.
Kickoff from Vegas is set for 2 p.m. The New Orleans Pelicans are back in action tonight on the road against the Houston Rockets. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. Christian Garrick, WWL Sports.
Now, your Garcia Roofing forecast on WWL.
Well, a good Sunday morning. It's another cold start to our morning. Temperatures are starting off in the upper 20s and low 30s in a few locations. Today, once again, remaining below average. We're supposed to be in the mid-60s. Today, we'll be in the mid-50s under mostly sunny conditions. Now, tonight, we'll begin to see our clouds increase across the area. So, mostly cloudy conditions tonight, and clouds look like they'll stick around as we head into Monday. Monday will be another cold start to our morning, but I do think Our morning temperatures will remain above freezing, so that's great news. Monday afternoon, again, those clouds remaining over the area with daytime highs climbing into the mid-50s. From your local weather expert forecast center, I'm WWL TV meteorologist Michelle Morgan.
And I'm Tom Perumian, WWL First News.
From WWL, the news, talk, sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870, or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, good morning. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend warriors, all complete. Give us a call or text us at 260-1870. We'll be on till 10 o'clock. Good morning, Albert.
Hey, Doug. Good morning. How are you?
Good. Got not a lot of sports to talk about, but there's sort of the legal issue, sports/legal issue with the Brian Flores lawsuit.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of dimensions to it. And one of the things about the Brian Flores lawsuit is often lawsuits are filed to accomplish other objectives outside of the lawsuit. In other words,
I agree with that.
The lawsuit is not really about Brian Flores's employment in Miami. It's about a bigger issue. Now, he did file for a class action suit. But if you look at the merits of Brian Flores's lawsuit from an individual standpoint, that's going to have a different implication than it would as to the NFL apparently immediately trying to change some of those policies to address the concern that Brian Flores has in the center of his lawsuit.
Well, seems like it's a lot of damage control at this point, and I don't know what that answer is going to be in terms of addressing it. I just as far as I'm concerned, there are white coaches that win in the NFL. There are black coaches that win in the NFL. And you work your way through the ranks, and we're gonna hire the guy that's gonna give us the best option. What about what about a 5 foot tall Chinese guy who's saying, "Oh, look, there are not enough Asian players in the NFL. You're gonna have to hire me. I'm filing lawsuit. You're gonna have to hire me to be a player." And and the 5 foot tall Chinese guy may not be the best athlete for the position, but now all of a sudden we're forced to have quotas instead of just based on ability. And I'm not a big fan.
Well, here's an interesting, which you're not going to hear in the ESPN media, is who Chris Greer is?
I don't.
Most people don't. That was Brian Flores' boss. He's the general manager of the Miami Dolphins. He's African American. Do you know what the composition of Brian Flores' coaching staff was?
What's that?
15 Caucasian, 5 African Americans.
Okay.
And so what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of dimensions to the story that's being presented as far as Brian Flores is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think one of Jason Whitlock had said, are you willing to live by the rules you want to make for other people? And I guess one of the things is what's not being disclosed is as far as Brian Flores in an individual capacity. I'm not talking about the NFL as far as hiring, it's decisions to make hiring practice, but I was going to comment on that. I think from what I understand, it was more of an insubordination, non-communication between the general manager and Brian Flores.
Right.
And it wasn't. Now,
listen, the guy. Look, just from a perspective where you don't know enough about. I didn't follow the Miami Dolphins that much this year, right? So from a guy like me, and I think the general public for the most part, except maybe people in Florida and Miami, I don't see. I was kind of shocked, honestly, to see that he was terminated from his position. They lost their first 8 games and won 7 out of the last 8. So, the conventional wisdom was he turned it around. We're going to be great next year. And, let's keep him on. But obviously, there was something else to it.
Right.
He lost his job because it's something other than the win-loss column. And,
now, right. And so I think in this would, try to explain it, under a racial discrimination claim, you have to show that the reason you had an adverse employment action was due to the immutable characteristic that you have, that you were black, African American. That is the law. And then if you prove that, the employer has the right to demonstrate in rebuttal as to whether there was a non-discriminatory reason for the termination. And if the employer carries that burden, then there's no racial discrimination. And so one of the things that's, I started to be more analytical about the lawsuit. I read it, and it has more of it doesn't really apply to Brian Flores' particular individual situation. Now, he's trying to make it a class action, which I think that's a tough, very, very tough.
Yeah, they'll never certify that class.
Yeah, because each coach is different. But I think the point is at the NFL is I think owners would have hired Saddam Hussein if they would have thought he could win a Super Bowl. And I'm saying that, in jest. But what I'm saying is it's about wins and losses. It's about wins and losses. And one of the interesting things that would happen now is if you're an owner and you have an African American coach and you go 6-10, 6-10, and 6-10. Well, what are you going to do?
Right.
Right. I mean, and that's not NFL. Now, I think the NFL probably is going to do more outreach and probably do more opportunity to have African American coaches and ex-players be in a position where they're in head coach. They're in the pool of head coaches, which was the intent of the Rooney Rule. But it's just interesting as far as how we look at the law and how it gets where it goes in a different dimension. But I think as far as Brian Flores' lawsuit in an individual capacity, it would be very difficult for him to prevail against the Dolphins because his boss is African American.
Right.
The composition of his own coaching staff doesn't reflect maybe what his philosophy in his lawsuit's reflecting, and that if you have a non-discriminatory reason, that's why I was bringing it up as a possibility. If you have a non-discriminatory reason for the termination, which is not due to skin color, then you do not prevail on the lawsuit.
Right.
And so and I don't know. I'm just pointing things out. I'm pointing things out that nobody else points out. That's what I'm trying to do. If you turn on ESPN, you're going to hear just a narrative without analyzing all sides of the issue.
Sure.
And I'm not saying which issue is right or wrong. I'm just identifying the issues. But what the Dolphins would have to show is a non-discriminatory reason, just like the New York Giants. They have a non-discriminatory reason why they hired Brian Daboll and not Brian Flores. They would have to show to prevail in that situation. The reason was basically the thought process was we did not want Brian Flores to be the coach of New York Giants because he was black, which I think would never carry the day, because I think any owner in today's NFL is going to hire the person they think is best going to lead them to a Super Bowl.
Sure. Let me ask you this too, Doug. and we chatted about this a little bit in my office the other day. Were there, so for the bit of background for the folks that aren't exactly sure what's going on. So Bill Belichick knew both Brian Flores and Brian, the guy that high. And so before Brian Flores got interviewed, which is required by the NFL, that minorities be interviewed for head coach positions, and Belichick sent out a text to the wrong Brian saying congratulations on getting the job. And so what Brian Flores' thrust of his argument against the Giants is, you were just going through the motion. You didn't hire me. You were going to interview me. You put on this big show, and we went to dinner and met everybody and all this stuff, but you had no intention of hiring me. And so you were just giving me lip service, going through the motions, because you have to interview an African American. So now he brings this lawsuit saying, "Hey, look, you're not following the rules, and this was why the rule was set up. You have to, have that opportunity to have to give me that opportunity to actually have the job." So that's the thrust of his argument. The question I had was, were there any white candidates that they interviewed after the one they hired? And if so, then they didn't hire Flores and they didn't hire a white candidate. So they obviously wanted this other guy.
I think the biggest flaw is Bill Belichick doesn't represent the Bills. And yeah, I mean, that's going to give some legs to the lawsuit as far as Flores goes. Now, I don't think this lawsuit is going to do something.
They're going to pay him off. I mean, and maybe he thought, you know what, I may not ever get a job again. I didn't do well the last couple places I coached, and let me get my shot of money. And look, the way you do it, you subpoena the owner's emails, right? And there are going to be third-party, tertiary emails that you don't want anybody to see. Just like anybody's private, whatever communication.
Yeah, and that's the vulnerability. That's the vulnerability.
That's the vulnerability. Yeah.
The NFL. But it's just an interesting lawsuit because I hear what's supposed to be learned commentators, especially on ESPNs, and who don't know what the hell they're talking about. And as far as legally concerned. And then, I always just trying to point out, if you're going to talk about the lawsuit, if I go in there, I try to be a sportscaster, which I try to do about 10 minutes a week. And I say,
it's kind of like us trying to be sportscasters, right? We don't know what
and I say Joe Burrow doesn't have what it takes to make it to a Super Bowl. I should be held accountable because that's an idiotic statement. And so all I'm trying to say is that when you listen to a lot of this Brian Flores analysis when it comes to legal aspect, a lot of people who are making a lot of proclamations don't know what the heck they're talking about. Especially when it comes to the merits of the lawsuit and what law do you have that applies to this lawsuit, and what do you have to prove in order to prevail. And nobody's talking about that. And that's I thought we would talk about it for about 10 minutes, because that's just like any other employment discrimination case in Louisiana. That you got to show that the primary basis of the primary motivating factor of adverse employment action is based on race, gender, religious background, or some protected characteristic. Let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Nicaud, Union Lawyers. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
When you listen to Scoot, you're listening to rock and roll history. Today in 1971, today in 1990, never forget the way I felt the morning. Scoot's rock culture calendar has everything.
Okay, we have Justin holding right now.
I've never played this record on the air for the first time, and knowing it's going to be appreciated. It's a perspective on the history of rock you can't get anywhere else from someone who's lived it. Honestly, I'm lucky to be alive. Scoot on the air, weekdays 1 to 4 on WWL.
We're feeling a little nostalgic this Valentine's Day. Remember the classic jingle, "There's a great work of art in every box from Oakland Heart"? It's still true, you know. It's why Gambit readers once again voted us best local jeweler. And it's why you have to shop Oakland Heart. Just listen to this online review from Josh. Oakland Heart is the only place to go. Full stop. I'll be back for any future jewelry purchases. Oakland Heart rocks. Pun intended. See? New Orleans is all about keeping it real, authentic. In our culture, being local and honest still counts for something. So does offering finer jewelry at better prices. Shocking, but true. Here in our Metairie Road showroom, we created an
Okay,
enormous
Babel is the
selection of
latest,
beautiful
the
jewelry in
last
every
spot
price
in
range
this
for Valentine's Day
Go
gifts
Live.
and every one of life's special moments. This February 14th, celebrate the best thing that ever happened to you with a gift from the city's best local jeweler, Oakland Heart on Metairie Road.
Hey, Louisiana, sports betting is officially here, and there's no better place to get in on the action than on FanDuel Sportsbook in partnership with Treasure Chest Casino. Right now, new customers can place their first bet risk-free. If you don't win, you'll get up to $1,000 back in site credit when you use promo code Garrett. That's why now is the perfect time to give FanDuel a shot. The app is simple and easy to use with generous promotions every day. It's safe and secure with best-in-class customer service. And when you win, FanDuel will pay your winnings in as little as 2 hours. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Just sign up for FanDuel Sportsbook with promo code Garrett to get started with a risk-free first bet up to $1,000. That's promo code Garrett. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of WWL Radio.
21 plus and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Are you getting the runaround from your Hurricane Ida insurance company?
Is your insurance company not returning your call?
Are you being denied a new roof?
Are you receiving lowball payments from your insurance company?
We can help. Call me, Doug Sunseri, WWL radio host and attorney at Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm in Metairie, or go to our website at idahurricaneclaim.com.
Or on the North Shore, call me, Michelle Demers Sunseri, at our office in Mandeville at 985-624-9697. We'll show the insurance company who's boss.
Did you know there are more pollutants inside than outside your home? Those pollutants can aggravate colds, asthma, sleep habits, and respiratory ailments. Keith's AC Heating and Electrical can install a state-of-the-art air quality system to remove virtually all the contaminants in your home. Call them today and save $250 off your new indoor air quality system. For a healthier home, for better breathing, and for fast relief, call Keith.
And now, electrical.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then try Babbel. Text Babbel to 64,000 and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free. Just text Babbel to 64,000 and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel to 64,000. Babbel to 64,000.
All things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on WWL and Odyssey Station. Connect now on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. Let's go to phone lines. Let's go to Justin. Hey, Justin, we hadn't heard from you in weeks. What's happening, man?
Hey, Doug and Albert, thanks for letting me be part of the show. I want to extend the conversation y'all have. I've always never liked the words black and white applied to human beings. Black and white deserves like a chessboard or Dalmatian. And the black and white thing infuriated my father. And he was a lawyer early in '62. And he represents a lot of African Americans because no one else would take that. And it infuriated my dad that they were so the injustice. And he handled every person like a human being. It's, I don't care if you call it green, black, white, whatever, what your case is, I'm going to go handle it. And he carries that over to me. And I think that the NFL brought this upon themselves by requiring every person to, you have to interview a minority. Blacks are not minorities. They're humans like me and everybody else. I'm sorry to use the word black, but I'm saying, to be simple, and my dad said, everybody's a human being, okay? You hire them as a coach if they're qualified, if they can do the job. I don't care what your skin color is. And that infuriated my father, Doug. It really did.
Well, I think it's a complex problem, but the way of quotas or putting in a system where someone feels like that, an owner feels like they cannot hire the best person that they think is available, but they have to artificially comply with a quota, would water down the game. I think I'm just talking about the NFL. I'm not talking about other businesses because it's different.
Right.
The bottom line is winning. If you're an 9 and 18, that's who you are. You're a 9 and 18. That's how you're evaluated. If you're 5 and 11 or 5 and 12, that's how you are evaluated. You are what your record is. And so that's how teams are evaluated. That is as objective as possible.
Right.
And
apparently, the NFL is evaluating people on the color of their skin, and I just don't agree with that. That's not fair.
Well,
I mean, God made me my color, okay? So pay me as I am.
Right.
But in spirit of my dad. My dad got a lot of business because no one else is taking people. And he's saying, look, they're people. They got a case. I'm gonna fight for them. They're white, black, whatever color they are. It doesn't matter.
Right.
I think we're taking this color of the skin way too far.
Well, here's what's happened, though. Here's what's happened is that people now have kind of translated, a lot of people have translated minority to mean black and black only. You know, and I brought up the Chinese football player in the last segment for a reason, because the U.S. Supreme Court is taking up the issue at Harvard, where there are Asian Americans that have applied. They have better scores. They have better, than many of the black applicants. And so they're saying, wait a minute, the black applicants are getting selected over us. And, we come from lower economic positions. We are minorities, a bigger minority, actually, because there are fewer Asians and African Americans. And so we're getting discriminated against among the minorities. And so it's all just crazy, but, again, let's say nothing of the past. It was horrible. My family always stuck up for the blacks in any type of racial issues that came about. We're all equal. You treat everyone the same. It goes back to my grandfather in Natchez, Mississippi, fighting for black rights in the 20s and 30s. He was a pioneer and not liked because of it. He was a fire chief and was outspoken about it. And so it's a shame that it's come to this now. The pendulum has swung so far the other way. And again, I hate to be cynical, but after nearly 35 years of practicing law, you follow the money, right? And so if I can allege something and get paid off for it, hey, what the heck? I'm going to allege it and pay it and get paid off.
It's funny you bring up the money thing. Is that all my dad's clients? He had clients of every culture and race. The money was so green. So it didn't matter to him. He got infuriated that people treat people differently. And, my dad, he was a human being, but he did not like the fact that people were treated differently because of the color of their skin. Now we'll leave it at that.
All right, Justin.
Thanks, Doug.
All right, good talking to you. Let's go to phone lines. Who we have, Doug? Bruce. JFR's Bruce on Ultimate. Hey, what's happening?
Good. I got one for you.
Yes.
All right. Can Chris Haskins sue the NFL because there's not enough white running backs?
And well,
What is the difference between that and not enough black coaches?
well, again, the NFL is the ultimate in results. I mean, you know, you look at kickers come from all these other countries in Europe because they were the best kickers. I think the NFL is colorblind. You know, I mean, even Vince Lombardi, his players said, you know, Vince was colorblind. He treated us all bad. But I think if you're not colorblind, or you are colorblind, you're not colorblind, you're not going to win in the NFL. On any level. That's why the AFL was able to overtake the NFL in such a short period of time because they were open to the SWAC and the historically black universities as far as giving opportunities that the NFL would not at the time back in the 60s. So we've evolved 50 years later, or the NFL has, where it's just about winning. You are what your record is, period. And it doesn't matter who's coaching, who's playing, and it doesn't matter if the running back's white, black, or whatever. It's who's the best for that position. And coaches who have a different agenda for that aren't going to win to begin with. And it's the same, the same with coaches. So, the Saints are a 9-8 football team. That's who they are. And yes.
The NFL is going to stand and fight, and they got ticket money, and they can easily fight it and say, if you qualified, we're going to hire you. If you have a winning record, that speaks for itself. But instead, I think they're more worried about emails coming up and all these other things that's going to tarnish their golden reputation. And therefore, it's easier just to take and pay off and do whatever you have to do and say, we were wrong, we're going to make it right. In the meantime, you get $10 million, go away, you'll never coach again. But, and it's a shame that they don't take a stand up for their principles and say, hey, listen, I had honestly, 30 coaches in the NFL were all black and satisfied. I would have no problem being in his own bearing on anything. If you qualify, you qualify. You're certainly not going to hire a black attorney if you think he's just as good or better than you are if he wants to come work in the firm. Bottom line is, it doesn't make a difference in color. They can qualify. And that's the problem. They're concerned about their image instead, so therefore, just never going to go into really, it'll be over and done within a month.
It's called protecting the shield.
Protecting the shield. That's what the NFL is going to do.
All right. Thanks for the call. Thanks for the call. Let's go to break.
Albert, you can always all think right back after this free timeout.
It's better with
on the line, the same subject. You want to continue it or
The winter there will be. And it all happens here. Global leaders of ISIS is no more. Stay with us throughout the weekend. Stay tuned for the games and as the new week begins.
Do not risk incurring the anger of the Chinese government.
WWL News Sports Leader.
DraftKings Sportsbook is officially live in Louisiana with mobile sports betting. To add to the excitement, DraftKings is giving new customers a special offer. Bet just $5 or more on any playoff game and win $280 in free bets if your team is victorious. Head to the DraftKings Sportsbook app now to check out all the great promotions and features, including same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. DraftKings is safe, secure, and you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code BIG870 and get 56 to 1 odds on any team. Bet just $5 or more and win $280 millions with Bet3 wins. That's code BIG870 this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. Eligibility varies by parent. Sportsbook for full terms and conditions. Licensed partner If you are a loved one or suffering from addiction, listen to Springfield Wellness Center's founder, Paula Norris Metayer.
We help people through their detox with minimal withdrawal symptoms. Even though it's a 10-day treatment, I look at the first 4 or 5 days as the brain restoration piece. And when the brain restoration piece turns on, that's when we have patients go, wow, a light bulb turned on or a switch was turned on. All of a sudden, their prefrontal cortex is working for them. And their midbrain is also working. They're not craving. They're thinking clearly. They see things clearly. And they have more confidence.
Put your addiction behind you. Call Springfield Wellness Center, 504-291-4000.
Just call us. That's all. And we'll be waiting for you.
504-291-4000. 291-4000. Springfield Wellness Center. SpringfieldWellnessCenter.com. Odyssey celebrates Black History Month. Black Icon.
We salute Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is a talk show host, television producer, author, and philanthropist. Oprah is the reigning queen of talk, hosting the Oprah Winfrey Show for 25 years. In 2008, she launched the OWN Television Network. Oprah has received numerous awards, including the Presidential Medal of Honor.
Odyssey, celebrating Black artists, athletes, and trailblazers all month long. More on the Odyssey app. Hi, folks. Joel Myers, my friends at Best Chevrolet. At Best Chevrolet, they know a Chevy buyer is generally looking for 3 things. Number 1, they want a great price. 2, they want a top-notch service department. And 3, Chevy buyers want an enjoyable, no-hassle buying experience. I can tell you, you're going to get all 3 at Best Chevrolet. On Veterans Boulevard, where Metairie meets Kenner, or BestChevrolet.com. Best Chevrolet, a proud member of the Gail Benson Automotive family of dealers.
I don't know if you fired up the heater yet or not, but either way, I'd make sure you call Nash Heating and Air and let them come out and check the heater, make sure it's operating safely and efficiently. And since we're going to be playing thermostat ping pong, what we call winter down here, let them check the air conditioner too, and maybe talk to them about a maintenance agreement. Nash Heating and Air has been around for 50 plus years, family owned and operated. You can give them a call, 504-835-4440, or go to nashac.com.
For Mardi Gras supplies, head to Jefferson Variety Stores, specializing in specialty beads, throw beads, trinkets, bows, masks, hats, and plenty more. At Jefferson Variety Stores, open 7 days a week. Visit them at 239 Irish Avenue in Old Jefferson, or online at jeffersonvariety.com.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special.
I have heard something after this, and more on the NFL.
That consumers are facing throughout the country. The Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-256-4180. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-256-4180 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They're going to catch your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-256-4180 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-256-4180. The Winter Olympics are coming. 17 days of action, excitement, glory, and history in the making. Don't miss a single epic moment. The Winter Olympics continue tonight on NBC and Peacock.
All things legal on WWL. Consult with Nicaud and Sunseri now on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk.
Who we have on the line?
504-260-70. And don't forget to rewind on the Odyssey app.
Hey, we're back. That's Sunseri, helping Nico and the Weekend Warriors. All things legal. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Terrence. Hey, Terrence, what you have for us, brother?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
I've been hearing a lot that nothing will change in the NFL with the situation that's going on with the law. Okay, with the owners. The owners make the decisions. We all know. Roger Goodell works for them. But things can change, and I put it like this here: a lot of people just have to sacrifice and make people uncomfortable. And what I'm about to say is uncomfortable to a lot of people. The same thing that happened in the 60s when they had the Montgomery or the boycott with the buses and all. If 70% of the players in the NFL are African American, and if they really want to sacrifice and they're staying out and don't play and sacrifice, it'll make a lot of things change, not only for African Americans, just for minorities in general. It's just not about African Americans. It's about minorities in general. And you have to sacrifice. And once you start messing with the people's, anybody's bottom line, NFL's bottom line, if they don't have the product on the field, enough of the great talent on the field, then you're going to have issues.
Well, let me ask you, Terrence. Look, quick question. What is it that you want to change about the NFL? What is it? What is it that 70%?
A lot of nepotism going on. I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of nepotism going on. You have owners. I mean, not owners. I'm not just going with the owners. I'm gonna put it like this here. You have coaches. They're gonna hire their owners.
Right.
They're hiring who they're comfortable with. They're not giving other candidates a chance. Okay? As you can see, what happened when Bill Belichick reached out to Brian Flores, we thought he was reaching out to Brian Daigle. That text message is very powerful. He already had the job before the guy went up in there to audition for the job.
Dude, okay, let me ask you this, and this is the legal question. And I'm glad we're having this uncomfortable conversation because we need to have the conversation. Do you think the Giants didn't hire or the Dolphins hired Brian Flores
because he was black?
No, I didn't say they fired him because he was black.
Okay, no, that's what I'm saying. But that's what
that's part of the lawsuit. Yeah, that's part of the lawsuit.
But he's also saying that they also was trying to pay him to lose games.
But
that's on your resume. Let's just think about this here. That's on your resume. So if you're losing games as a coach, it's hard for you to get another job. They look at your resume. We just like Hugh Jackson said.
Right.
They were trying to get a bigger draft pick, better draft pick, so they want them to change things. So you got sports betting that's going on in the NFL right now and everything else. So you have a lot of people, if they're betting on these things, it's just like somebody throwing a fight or anything, throwing 2 rolls and baseball or anything.
But you see, that's a different issue though. If it's proved, but it's not. Yeah, if it's proved, Stephen Ross said that he will lose his team. He will lose his team.
Yeah, we already know that.
But
I think it's going to be proven.
Yeah, well, that's to be, but that has nothing to do with the hiring practices based on.
I understand what you're saying now. But everybody knows what's been going on for years. We're not blind. Nobody is not blind. I don't care what color you are or what color you claim, what is your background or whatever. People see what's going on.
Right.
Just like the guy say about his dad as an attorney, people see what's going on.
Right. Well, we're talking, yeah.
And it's not about black. It's not about black. Like I'm saying, it's not about black, white. It's just about unjust stuff. It's not about that. And they have a lot of great coaches from all backgrounds. They probably have Asian coaches, you have Latino coaches. It's not just about black. But if you're not even given a chance to get in the door, how would you ever get in the door? How? You can't sit at the table. You want me to go win football games for you and do this. But when it comes down to you giving me more chances, like other people more chances, think about it. Lovie Smith went to the Super Bowl, okay, with Rex Grossman.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple of hard questions regarding Brian Flores. His boss was black. In the composition of his in the composition of his coaching staff was 20 white, 5 black. Now, how do you, how does that fit into the mix?
Yeah. Let's do this, Terrence, help us out. Okay, hang on, Terrence, hang on, help us out real quick. So we're two lawyers. We're trying to prove Brian Flores's case. And when you try to prove something, you always look at what the other side's argument or defenses are going to be. Okay, and what Doug just brought up is one of the defenses that the NFL is going to bring up and say, wait a minute. We did, or at least the Miami Dolphins. Our general manager is an African American. So if you got fired, it was done by an African American. And so, and your composition of your team is 25% African American of your coaching staff. So we're it's not as if we have an all white coaching staff. So respond to that and say, okay, well, look, Your Honor, here's our argument to that. From a legal standpoint.
I'm about to answer.
Okay.
I'm about to answer that for you. Okay.
All right.
The general manager works for the owner. So he stuck with the owner because he's trying to save his job. Everybody's not going to stick this in hard times. O.J. Simpson did not stick with Jim Brown and Muhammad Ali in hard times. He turned his back. Everybody's not going to stay with you.
Okay.
That's reality. Everybody's not going to stay with you. Everybody's not going to stay with you. Everybody's not going to have your back. Follow the money.
What about the composition of his coaching staff? Because he gets to select his own coaching staff. There's 15 to 5.
I understand that. He has his coach, but I'm not just talking about him. I'm talking about I'm just talking about getting in the door. I'm talking about the person in the door. If you're going to make a chance to get, if your job, if they're telling you we're going to interview you, and those put the job to somebody else and interview,
I agree. Listen, Doug and I were having this same conversation, and I agree with you because look, you made this rule. I didn't make the rule. You made the rule and you didn't follow your own rules. You had this, the fix was in before you interviewed me, and you just, I'm just window dressing. I'm just checking a box. You did interview me because I'm hiring somebody else. Yep. And I agree. I think that's a very strong argument that he has.
Hey, Terrence, we got to go to break. We want to thank you for the call. You have been one of the best calls we've had in 15 years, and we appreciate your honesty. And it was a great talk. And call us back again. Yes, sir.
Conversation for people to really have. We
have to have it. I agree.
Amen, Terrence. God bless you, and thank you so much for the call. And I appreciate your honesty and your transparency. All right, we got to go to break. That's the Terry Albert Nicaud Weekend Lord is all things legal. We'll be right back after this free time out.
Find podcasts for your passions on Odyssey.
Like the award-winning Fresh Air with NPR's Terry Gross.
Welcome.
I love okay, no telephone call now. We're going to have about 6 minutes till the top of the hour.
Bringing you true, unexpected stories.
And experience the new podcast movie thriller Ghostwriter.
Starring Kate Mara and Adam Scott. It's not a whodunit. If you know who the killer is all along, the real mystery is why.
Find all the podcasts that matter to you in a universe of audio.
Odyssey.
WWL is proudly sponsored by Anna Joy and Levine Hurricane Attorneys. Is your claim taking too long?
You may be able to help.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. Attorney Bruce Spencer, Office Memory, LA 2212-758.
Hey, Louisiana, sports betting is officially here, and there's no better place to get in on the action than on FanDuel Sportsbook in partnership with Treasure Chest Casino. Right now, new customers can place their first bet risk-free. If you don't win, you'll get up to $1,000 back in site credit when you use promo code Garrett. That's why now is the perfect time to give FanDuel a shot. The app is simple and easy to use with generous promotions every day. It's safe and secure with best-in-class customer service. And when you win, FanDuel will pay your winnings in as little as 2 hours. See for yourself. yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Just sign up for FanDuel Sportsbook with promo code Garrick to get started with a risk-free first bet up to $1,000. That's promo code Garrick. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of WWL Radio.
21 plus and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP. If you have Medicare, you deserve the best care and coverage available. But how do you know if your Medicare plan offers the quality you need? Check their Medicare star rating. The higher the stars, the better the quality. And People's Health has earned Medicare's highest rating, 5 out of 5 stars for 2022. Don't take my word for it. Take Medicare's. To learn more about People's Health Medicare plans, call 1-855-821-2666 or visit peopleshealth.com.
Brandon Holly here. Premium Windows. Professionally measured, professionally installed. ReliefWindows.com.
Where do you go when you want to sell your old gold jewelry?
Okay, we got Big Lou, who is our
in Louisiana. There are a lot of choices out there, but I recommend you try Bet Rivers Sportsbook. I've been a long-time fan of the Bet Rivers team because they put players first. Their customer service and commitment to your experience are second to none. Download the Bet Rivers app or go to betrivers.com today and make your legal bets in Louisiana. Must be 21. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou, a term provider, 800-568-2790. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems. And if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-568-2790. That's 800-568-2790. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-568-2790.
All things legal on WWL, AMFM.com, and the Louisiana. Connect with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on the Oakland Art Jewelers Talking Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud. I think Michelle represented
Big Lou's first wife. And
Big Blue out.
So you had to start all over again.
You could hear that little, he's on number 2.
You got a little residual bitterness over Michelle.
But, excuse me. So anyway, that was interesting discussion. On the other side,
we're going in about 3-4 minutes. I wanted to talk about the new lawsuit that was filed in Civil District Court against the
mayor and the health department
over
the COVID
restrictions.
It's
interesting. I was going to get a little into it, but
it's interesting that we have had an emergency
order in place for a few years now.
And that's one of the issues is, is an emergency going to be what is the time period for an emergency? And, what is, duration? How do you define when the emergency ends? And typically, in South Louisiana, our emergency orders are in connection with hurricanes.
Right.
And we would have an emergency order for 28 days, 14 days, and then everything goes back to normal. But the interesting question is, how long can you impose an emergency order for duration? And is that going to be years? A decade or what have you. So it's very interesting. I want to go into some of the specifics. The plaintiff attorneys, their allegations in the lawsuit are very interesting as far as the policy behind it, and the authoritative type powers that the mayor does and does not have. And so it's just very interesting. It's a very interesting topic that we want to go to. Also, I guess you want to talk about your Hurricane Ida claim. That's still a very, very contentious topic. This is one issue that's cutting across all socioeconomic, I guess, aspects of society. I mean, everybody's having difficulty with this.
Oh yeah.
And,
yeah.
I mean, it's a very, I want to say a diverse. I'm just sort of floored as to the commonality of the difficulties they're having.
Hurricanes don't discriminate. they just blow. The winds just blow and the rains come, and so they don't care what color you are, what race, what religion, what anything, what socioeconomic class. they just blow, and whatever's in its path, it is what it is. Listen, we need to have better discussions on race. We've got blacks feeling like whites are out to get them. We got whites feeling like blacks are out to get them. We need to calm it down and have just reasonable discussions about it. And all of this, race baiting and race being the first thing on people's minds and first thing, and what happens is, because you hear it so much, and I think the media is very much to blame. They're just looking for a story, right? So let's fan the flames and make it into something so people keep watching our program. But I got to tell you, New Orleans has historically been a different place. It had for a long time an upper class and a lower class, and not much of a middle class. So the majority of the people in the lower economic class were white, and we worked side by side with blacks. We and vice versa, and we got to know each other, and the greatest thing was when what was his name kicked a field goal to get us into the Super Bowl, and they were showing the video. They show the video on the empty Bourbon Street because everybody was in the bars watching it, and he kicks the field goal, and the streets came together, whites hugging blacks. We didn't care, rich, poor. We all had this common goal and this common love for the city and this common love for the Saints. And that's where we need to get back to. That was just 10 or 12 years ago. And we need to get back to that moment where, guys, we need to put this race thing aside and let these people who make a living by playing race cards or playing against the race card, let's ignore them. Let's
put them out of business.
Yeah, let's go about our business and just love one another and being good.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. All right.
The News Talk Sports Leader, WWL New Orleans, WWL FM and HD110 in New Orleans, and Odyssey Station.
This is PBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Linda Kenyon in Washington. We are still in the thick of the pandemic, and Dr. Carol Rattay with Delaware's Division of Public Health says get a booster.
Delaware ranks 26th among all states in overall booster uptake. We know that we can do better, so we're trying to understand the reasons why booster rates are low here and nationally.
Protests over the death of a Minneapolis man after police carried out a no-knock warrant.
I think it's just important to recognize that this isn't just about one officer or one incident. This is about an overarching, systematic problem that we see with the Minneapolis Police Department. We have to change it.
Body cam footage of 22-year-old Log sleeping in a couch when police moved in. He was holding a gun. He was not named in the warrant. It's been 10 years since the killing of Trayvon Martin, who was remembered yesterday at an annual event in Miami. Trayvon Martin was 17. He shot by neighborhood watch volunteer George Zimmerman. Members of the Ukrainian Association of North Carolina standing with the people of Ukraine.
I this week are not here to support Ukraine, the Ukrainian people.
It's scary. It's scary for them. Russia has amassed more than 100,000 troops at the Ukrainian border. A new report says North Korea has been using cyber attacks to get around sanctions and buy weapons.
The report by independent monitors cites an earlier claim the North stole close to $400 million in digital assets last year, while also highlighting evidence North Korean cyber actors took more than $50 million from at least 3 cryptocurrency exchanges between 2020 and mid-2021.
CBS's Alex Jensen in Seoul. In Beijing, CBS's Steve Futterman says an Australian skier has edged out an American at the Olympics.
She was in first place until the very end, but the final skier, Dakota Anthony from Australia, comes through with the top score of the night. She pushes Stephen Koff into second place.
Texas continues recovering from severe weather. This Austin in Austin.
The big fear that severe weather storm will come up immediately after it never happened. Recovery efforts now focus on the aftermath of the storms.
It's still going to be brutally cold out there. We cannot turn our backs on those that are in need right now.
Madagascar's environment minister says residents are in need after a cyclone on the eastern coastline.
The situation is very difficult. Many things destroyed. Hospital, schools.
Another cyclone 2 weeks ago killed 55. This is CBS News.
Get CBS News Radio on the Odyssey app. All the audio that matters to you is on Odyssey. Music, sports, and podcasts. Download the Odyssey app today.
Susan, it's so great to finally be together again. And I really appreciate it. I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, a free gas app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas. Wait a minute, are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app? Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas. Does that actually add up to anything? I'll make $200 to $300 this year. Wow! That's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code DEAR for 25 cents a gallon or more cash back on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code DEAR to earn 25 cents a gallon or more on your first tank. That's code DEAR.
WWL First News. I'm Tom Perumian on your official weather station, WWLAMFM.com.
It's Sunday morning. It's another very cold start to our morning. Make sure you're bundling up. We're heading out this morning. Temperatures will climb into the mid-50s this afternoon, and we'll see lots of sunshine to begin our day, but clouds will slowly increase across the area through the day.
Your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist Michelle Morgan. Flood insurance rate hikes are on the way with a special report. Here's WWL TV's Mike McDaniel.
And changes have been made to the nation's flood insurance program. And these changes are expected to create phased-in increases of more than 129% for about half of policyholders in Louisiana. So this is due to what's called Risk Rating 2.0. FEMA says the yearly payment is now based specifically on a person's property instead of just the area, meaning rates will be determined on how likely a home will flood and how much it would cost to fix it. According to analysis from FEMA data that was recently published by The Advocate, the rate increases would be phased in slowly over multiple years because program rules limit price hikes to 18% a year. Not everyone will pay more, though. About a fifth of policyholders are expected to see one-time decreases averaging about $960. This is for policyholders who are deemed to have been paying too much for their flood insurance.
A Georgia man has pleaded guilty to scamming people in Louisiana while he was held in a Georgia prison. U.S. Attorney Brandon Brown said in a news release Thursday, 32-year-old Andre Reese of Atlanta entered a plea to one count of wire fraud conspiracy. He says evidence shows that while serving time at Georgia's Autry State Prison in 2015, Reese participated in a scheme to tell victims they failed to appear for jury duty and would be arrested unless they paid a fine. The scheme continued to July 2020 and netted nearly $10,000.
The mayor hits the streets of Treme today. WWLTV's Devin Bartolotta tells us why.
So Mayor Nicaud Cantrell will lead the Tremaine Sidewalk Steppers second lines. It's set to step off at noon at Armstrong Park. That parade has not been shortened because of peak traffic.
Here's Christian Garrett with WWL Sports.
NFL Pro Bowl today in Las Vegas. 4 Saints players will take the field today for the NFC. JT Gray, Cam Jordan, Marshawn Lattimore, and running back Alvin Kamara, who says he's getting used to these trips to the All-Star game.
It's another day, man. Pro Bowl in practice with the incredible Cam Jordan. You know, I think it's turning into a regular occurrence.
Kickoff from Vegas is for 2 p.m. The New Orleans Pelicans are back in action tonight on the road against the Houston Rockets. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. Christian Garrett, WWL Sports.
Now, your Garcia Roofing forecast on WWL.
Like a Sunday morning, we are starting off with cold temperatures across the area. Bundle up if you're heading out. Today, temperatures will warm nicely into the mid-50s, and we won't be dealing with strong winds, so that's great news there. Lots of sunshine in the forecast with our afternoon highs climbing into the mid-60s and below average. Especially in the mid-60s, it will be about 10 degrees below that. Tonight, lots of clouds, and that's going to set us up for a mostly cloudy day as we begin our work week. It's going to be another cold start to the morning on Monday, but I do think our temperatures will remain above freezing both north and south of the lake, and daytime highs climbing into the mid-50s Monday afternoon. From the local weather expert forecast center, I'm WWL TV meteorologist Sean Morgan.
And I'm Tom Perumian, WWL First News.
From WWL, the news talk sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oakland Art Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870, or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, we're back for hour number 2. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend reporters, all things legal. Just call it 260-1870 or text us. We're on till 10 o'clock. And last hour, we got a whole load of that. Sort of hit a little bit of a hornet's nest there. So it was a good discussion, though. This hour, you can call us with any legal questions. But I want to start out with this. And I thought it's important since we're all the center of everything we do here. They had more than 100 plaintiffs who live and work in New Orleans are suing Mayor Cantrell and the city's health department over its COVID vaccine and mask mandates. It was basically a suit that was filed on February 1st in Civil District Court, and it's to contest the city's 24-month-old emergency order almost that individuals ages 5 or older have to show proof that at least 2 doses of COVID-19 vaccines or a negative PCR, which is not a rapid test, or antigen test to enter certain businesses through a vaccine mandate that went into effect for adults on January 3rd. Additionally, all individuals 2 years and older must wear a mask indoors in Orleans Parish. And it was filed by Laura Canizero Rodriguez, partner in New Orleans Rodriguez and Curry Law Firm. And they said that the city of New Orleans has endured an unprecedented control for 2 years, and that what started out as a temporary means to protect the community from unknown risk of virus has turned into a series of mandates that no longer make sense to any rational person. Enough is enough. People all over the great state who live, work, and worship in New Orleans are united in this effort to take back control of their lives and families. Also, they said the social, economic, and cultural harm through this authoritarian actions under the pretext of an emergency must end emergency without end. And basically, it was, it's a class action suit, even though the mandate's probably going to go away before this ever gets to hearing. I think it's going to make its way through the court system in order to possibly set precedent in the future. Also, it says that the the risk in the lawsuit says the risk posed by Omicron to most people, especially children, is diminished, far below the risk posed by other diseases and activities of daily life in New Orleans. For example, the risk for a New Orleans resident or visitor of injury in an automobile accident or being a victim of violent crime is far greater of a risk of illness than illness from the Omicron variant. So, it's I think it's interesting to see what powers does the mayor actually have and does not have, and it'll be
Right.
interesting to see what the outcome becomes.
Yeah. Listen, it's pretty far-reaching, and there's study after study after study. I forget the name of the group, but like 50,000 medical professionals, doctors, epidemiologists, scientists, all signed it, basically saying the masks are not doing anything. They're not helpful. There was a guy on that was in one of the news networks, and he was talking. He was an epidemiologist. He said, "I've studied these pandemics. I've studied these viruses." And he says, what happens is we get hit with something new we don't know anything about, and we end up reacting to it, and that's fine. He says, but each iteration of the virus, whether it will get a master strain, viruses will get stronger, they mutate, once we react. And so a lot of these companies are coming, look, get a booster, get a booster. Well, the booster is for last iteration, which kind of run its course. Now all of a sudden we've got a new strain, and the new strains of these viruses are weaker and weaker and weaker. So what's happening is a lot of these companies are claiming, these pharmaceutical companies are claiming, we're the reason, these vaccines that we're taking and these boosters and these whatever, that's the reason why fewer and fewer people are dying and fewer people are in the hospitals. And it's just the natural progression of the virus, is that the next iteration of it is less lethal. It might be more contagious and more people are getting it, but you talk about deaths, and across the board, it's less than the flu now. And so here we are still with mandates. Here we are still with demands that we, wear this. We've had vaccines now for 6-month-old to 5-year-old, and the Department of Health and Human Services is recommending, and pretty soon they'll probably be demanding it if your kids go to some kind of preschool, that these kids be vaccinated, and they just don't know anything about it.
Well, they will in about 20 years.
Yeah, and the 6-month-old kids
are see commercials during daytime TV. If you took the vaccine 20
unless but they've supposedly given them immunity. The government's given them immunity. So
I think the other spin. Yeah, I think the other spin on the lawsuit is it is very interesting how the mayor is very reticent to impose unreasonable restrictions on law-abiding citizens. And when it comes to crime, she's hiding under her desk, not wanting to even acknowledge it, much less do anything about it. And basically, day after day, you hear another story of someone being carjacked, robbed, tourists being robbed, saying, I am leaving this town. I'm leaving and I'm not coming back. I am going somewhere else. And I'm just wondering, at what point do you say, I think maybe I ought to stop imposing restrictions that affect small businesses, imposing restrictions to reduce the quality of life on law-abiding citizens, and maybe let's deal with the 900 violent offenders who are not charged this year, and do something about that. And it's just an interesting dynamic that. And I think it's because if you're impotent as a leader, is you go after law-abiding citizens and do nothing about the ones who are lawless. And so it's just an interesting dynamic, and I think that's what the lawsuit highlights is, you're going to use your resources to impose more unreasonable restrictions on people who are just trying to make a living, work hard, and enjoy themselves.
I agree. And look, I've got somebody I know, a client of ours actually, and he's got a house in Lakeview. Just put it up for $1.9 million. Think about those property taxes, right? And the amount of money, and his kids go to school in the area, and they live and work in the area. They're moving. Just put the house up. They had 12 cars broken into on his street within the last month or so. And it's like, you know what? I don't want to have to carry a gun to the alley to put my garbage out. And that's kind of how it's gotten. And, and sadly, in some neighborhoods, it's been like that for many years. Now all of a sudden it's just getting to the more affluent neighborhoods, and they're done. And unfortunately for the poor people that can't move, they can't move out of their housing project, or they can't move out of their community or whatever. They're stuck. And this mayor is doing nothing to protect any of the citizens of New Orleans. The police morale is down because of lack of support by the administration of the police department and of their policing efforts to try to, listen, you'd say, look, you got to stand there and be, officer friendly and Mr. Nice Guy when a criminal is coming to attack you or resisting arrest and kicking you. Listen, I'm a human being too. I don't want anybody kicking me, and I'm going to take steps to subdue that person and bring them to justice. And now all of a sudden, every time I try to do that, I'm going to get reprimanded. I'm going to get desk duty. I may lose my job. I may get sued. All of these things for just trying to keep our citizens safe.
And I think that the lunacy of Mardi Gras is this mayor is putting all these restrictions on Mardi Gras with bans now. They're losing a bunch of bans from Mardi Gras. Unreasonable restrictions on them. But here's the lunacy. She's put all these unreasonable restrictions for COVID because she's allegedly concerned about COVID. And then she shortens the parade routes, and you have greater concentration. So if that's your objective, you just made that worse by having a great concentration of people over a shorter parade route. So I think these inconsistencies just highlight: is it really about COVID, or is there some added benefit to that where you get to exercise control over the lives of citizens of New Orleans? So this lawsuit is going to bring a lot of this out in the open, where the mayor doesn't have press conferences. She doesn't come on WWL and explain herself. She doesn't explain herself in the media. But to a certain extent, this lawsuit will have to address. You can't escape these questions, these very pointed questions, and hopefully. Through the discourse of the lawsuit, they will probably have some type of reasonable parameters the next time it happens, so this will never happen to us again, where these owners' decisions can actually destroy a lot of the social and business fabric of what makes up the homes. So,
listen, I can't agree more. And if it's the definition of insanity, right? Keep doing it over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, when you reelect somebody with a lack of leadership and who's somewhat tyrannical in their methods, and you get what you pay for, right? Okay, well, you voted for it. You get what you vote for is right, and it's just
So we wish those 100 plaintiffs good luck, and hopefully they can bring to light a lot of things that are being not brought to light at the present time, so that New Orleans can get past all this and become the kind of city that it's meant to be. Let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this time.
lots of debate right now about what conservatives stand for. To me, simple, family, free enterprise, less government.
Okay, we have Dan from Metairie. He has a question. How long has he got to make his claim? Like it's a stride.
I've said it 1,000 times and I'll say it again. All politics are local. We all want the same things. A safe place to live, to work, and raise our families.
Leaders Needed. Dual North, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. weekdays on WWL.
Jackson Hewitt needs you to know 3 things about filing taxes this year. 1. There are thousands of dollars worth of new tax credits on the table. 2. You have to file for them to make sure you get the right amount. 3. A Jackson Hewitt tax flow will help track down every credit you deserve. Tax credits for being a parent, taking care of a kid, going to school, and so much more. You don't want to miss out on thousands. Jackson Hewitt knows that. Discover thousands in tax credits and get your biggest refund guaranteed. Learn more at jacksonhewitt.com.
Time is running out on your chance to enter the Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Square sweepstakes. Every time the score changes, somebody's going to win $50,000. That means every touchdown
Start will be Diamonds Direct, and then we'll go.
Two grand prize winners will win $500,000 they could use for their dream home. Get in the game today. See rules.
No purchase necessary. Legal residence in the U.S. and D.C. Based legal I didn't feel so well, so I searched my symptoms on Google, and now I'm being followed by uncomfortable ads. I hate feeling like my personal data is being bought and sold. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy with DuckDuckGo.
At Community Coffee, we didn't set out just to make great coffee. We set out to make something that would bring out the best in people, morning, noon, and night. And who wouldn't want to share a cup of that? Community Coffee. Find us at your local grocery or visit us at communitycoffee.com.
Hey, Louisiana, sports betting is officially here, and there's no better place to get in the action than on FanDuel Sportsbook in partnership with Treasure Chest Casino. Right now, new customers can place their first bet risk-free, and if you don't win, you'll get up to $1,000 back in site credit when you use the promo code ABERT, H-E-B-E-R-T. That's why now is the perfect time to give FanDuel a shot. The app is simple and easy to use with generous promotions every day. It's safe and secure with best-in-class customer service. And when you win, FanDuel will pay your winnings in as little as 2 hours. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Just sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook with promo code ABEAR to get started with a risk-free first bet up to $1,000. That's promo code ABEAR. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of WWL Radio.
21 plus
Hey, it's Christian here. Are you having problems with your Hurricane Ida related insurance claim? Are you uncertain whether your insurance company is treating you fairly? You need home repairs? You need CJ Hewitt Construction, a local and licensed full-service general contractor. Unlike ordinary roofers, CJ Hewitt can handle the entire claims process and make sure you get what you deserve from your insurance carrier. Visit helpmecj.com. That's helpmecj.com or call 504-272-2323. That's 504-272-2323.
Diamonds Direct makes it easy to go over the top this Valentine's with an expanded selection of the most romantic gifts, special designer truck shows, and the return of our most popular offer ever, 5 years, 0 interest financing. Now through Valentine's Day, we've teamed up with the nation's most sought-after designers with a spectacular selection of affordable and timeless gifts. And with 5 years, 0 interest financing, you can go big. How about a $3,000 pair of diamond stud earrings and you pay $50 a month? Or a $4,000 diamond tennis bracelet for just $67 a month? It's a fact. Jewelry is the #1 gift for Valentine's, and Diamonds Direct is the #1 destination. We'll help you find the ideal gift at the best price, and you can spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. Visit us now or shop online for some great romantic gift ideas at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. On approved credit.
Now, more All Things Legal, underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. All advice given and opinions shared are solely those of attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri. Back to WWL.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers.
All Things Legal.
Let's go to phone moms. Let's go to Dan. Dan, the man. What's up?
I like to make a medical announcement
my question. Every morning, I had mentioned on the show that my very last shot that you guys put up. People forget. Almost.
Oh, no. Yeah.
The other day, how long do I have to file a claim with my insurance company after the storm?
It'll be August 29th, 2023.
Well, that's actually not the question. That's how long do you have to file a lawsuit?
Lawsuit,
yeah. Accordingly, you look at your policy information. It'll tell you, you need to report your claim promptly and as quickly as you can. And so, what you don't want is some sort of defense that, oh wait, you didn't report the claim to us. You got it all fixed. We didn't see the damages, so you can't prove your claim. So you want to report your claim, obviously, as quickly as possible. Get them to come out and let them see it, let them evaluate it. Give them the opportunity to, look at the damages, take photographs, etc. So, that's definitely something that you want to get done as quickly as possible.
And that'll be on my policy?
Yeah, it says your duties after a loss. It's going to be under that section called your duties after a loss. And it's going to say, obviously try to protect the property if you have to do some sort of emergency repairs. You want to mitigate your damages, make them less, and then contact us immediately so we can send somebody out to assess the loss. It's a list of things that, but it's going to be under the general conditions probably, and then under your duties after a loss. And you'll see, and I don't know that they necessarily put a timeline on it because, but I know they, it is as soon as possible, certainly within 6 months, which we're approaching.
6 months, huh?
Yeah. All right, and also to bootstrap that, what I was talking about was a lawsuit. Once you file your report to claim, you basically have till August 29th, 2023 to resolve your claim. If it's not resolved, then you have to file a lawsuit by then in order to preserve it and keep it alive.
And that's not including the flood claim. That's strictly
flood claims I'm glad you brought that up because flood claims have as of now, their deadline to file proof of loss is February 26th.
Yep.
And if you have to file proof of loss with your damages with FEMA or your CARET or the administrator of your flood policy, if you don't, you lose your right to file for additional damages beyond what you've been paid until that time.
Right.
It may or may not be extended. I'm proceeding as if it's not because, unfortunately, FEMA doesn't even tell the Commissioner of Insurance when they're going to do it, when they're going to extend. So that they just operate on a different way. All right, Dan. Thanks for the call. Good to hear from you. All right, man. Do we have anybody else, Doug? That's it. All right. So I think with the again, we've talked a little bit about this before. The flood policy is so much different than the wind policy. The flood policy is underwritten by FEMA. The coverages are a lot, or the scope of the policy is a lot less. You have different obligations under it. It doesn't pay like a wind policy. You have no loss of use, and you have no other debris removal and those other particular coverages.
No penalties or attorney fees and that sort of thing. Yeah.
So, but you have to file what's a proof of loss with your estimate by February 26th. If you don't, then they will not pay you any additional damage. Even if the claims adjuster says you don't need to file a proof of loss, we're going to pay you. Under the federal law, any representations made by your insurance agent or claims adjuster is not to be relied on in connection with your flood claim. So
and if they do extend it, we'll do our best to get that word out too. Yeah.
In fact, we'll probably be dropping a line to Insurance Commissioner Donlin to find out. He usually lets us know when it gets extended, and if it does get extended, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
So, Albert, on the flood claims, I ask you this every week. What are a lot of the issues that your clients are experiencing this week? What are some of the
The flood claims or the Ida claims in general?
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, they don't have a lot of flood claims. They were kind of concentrated to a certain area. I did just get one from the North Shore. They called and they said, yeah, we've got a flood claim. Nobody wants to take our case. The lawyers, I guess, don't want to get involved with trying to help somebody who, not going to have the threat of attorney's fees and penalties, et cetera. But yeah, these people, they said, it's so funny. He said, we flooded once before, and I forget what event it was, but they flooded, and he said, we got paid $196,000 for the flood, for the damages. He said, we flooded again and the water actually went up higher above our electrical outlets this time, and they paid us half. And so it's the exact same area, the exact same flood. We in fact replaced it with nicer quality materials, and here we are, not getting the what we got the last time. Which we thought was a fair settlement. And so we sent one of our team over there to go get an estimate, and we're going to place all those dollar amounts in the new proof of loss and get that filed certainly before February 26th, and then hopefully negotiate with whomever the adjuster is at that point to move forward. But listen, it's coming up. That's the thing that kind of reminds me. It's coming up on 6 months, right? And so if you've not been made whole within 6 months after a loss, it's probably time to take the next step. It's probably time to hire an attorney, bite the bullet, and say, okay, look, I've done all I can do. I'm exhausted. And those are the calls we're getting right now. It's like, listen, we thought we could try to do this ourselves, and some people have successfully, and some people have just, let them win through attrition. They just wore them out and said, okay, you know what, I throw my hands up, I'm done. But I think at this point, if you're in that situation, it can't hurt to have someone look at your damages. We've seen there's the very rare case that we'll send somebody out and they say, oh yeah, they managed to put everything in their report and it was perfect. Yeah, exactly. And there are some good ones, and maybe those are the calls we're not getting, right? But the ones that we see, sometimes it's 10 times more. Sometimes it's sometimes it's $10,000 or $15,000 more, and we submit that estimate, and it's a new roof versus the patch or something small. But hey, look, it means a lot to people, and not everybody's got another $15,000 laying around that they can just drop on a new roof and then turn around and pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for the insurance premium next year. So
I have to tell you something, a humorous story, but it sort of illustrates some of the issues that insurance companies we're experiencing in filing the claims. Well, we had one claim that we submitted in with a report, and with a very detailed report as to what the adjustment is and exactimate. So the insurance company had asked, well, we need photos with the report, because we sent the report before we had the photos just to get it in the hopper. And the insurance company says, we need your photos, and we need detailed photos and all these other, and we need detailed information as to what work's been done. So we put it in the email, and they sent back a response saying that our system cannot accommodate the photos and the estimates that you submitted. Please find another way to get it to us without a mailing address. So basically, it's sort of indicative of some of the frustration is that they'll tell us, hey, we don't have photos, we don't have additional estimates, please send it to us. And when we send it to them, well, our server can't accommodate that. So
you're a multi-million-dollar insurance company and you don't have Dropbox. Come on, really?
So we're those are sort of the kind of issues that people, I think.
Well, and that's a game we get too, right? One of the games is, oh, you know what? We need this document. Oh, yeah, you know what? We really need this document. And then, they wait about 20 days before they tell you what they need. And so they keep kicking it down the street. It's like, you've got all the photographs. Because we tell our people, listen, you're going to put it on a claim summary or an estimate. You better have a photograph of it, and you better be able to swear under oath that this is a damage caused by this storm, and you saw it, and you put it down, and you priced it properly. Because we don't want fluff. We don't want exaggeration thrown in there just to, because listen, Judge Pat McCabe, one of the retired judges, I really have a lot of respect for him. And we were at a pretrial conference, and it wasn't a hurricane claim; it was a different type of claim. And, this guy, I was saying all these bad things about, this guy's this, and he's got credibility problems, and this and that on the other side. But my guy is this, and this. And he looked at me and he said, if you're claiming that you're on the high road, you better be on it. And it was just great advice. I had a client one time that had a property damage claim, and that person just made up things and made up receipts, and it was a great claim. It was a figure-plus claim because of all of the underhanded things that were done in submitting the claim or providing that claim. I didn't even check to see whether that person did in fact. But I mean, they were making up receipts. They were doing all this thing, and when it came time to produce it all for trial, the other side said, "Look, this is what we have," and I had to look and say, so we settled it for next to nothing. And it was like, don't go overboard. Don't submit
good faith.
It's a proof of loss, right?
Yeah, basically comes to the axiom: pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Don't be a hog. All right, let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. All things we will be right back after this brief comment.
Hello, friends. We know you're busy. That's why we make it easy to listen to WWL where you want, when you want. You can hear us live, on Rewind, or on demand.
I have no one on the phone as of the moment.
We've got all your favorites. You can listen to the full show, just the interviews, or hot highlights from each hour. And don't forget, you can listen live on your smart speaker. Just tell your device, play WWL. Day or night, weekday or weekend, we're here when it matters most. Don't miss a minute of WWL.
DraftKings Sportsbook is officially live in Louisiana with mobile sports betting. To add to the excitement, DraftKings is giving new customers a special offer. Bet just $5 or more on any playoff game and win $280 in free bets if your team is victorious. Head to the DraftKings Sportsbook app now to check out all the great promotions and features, including same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. Or lets you add more money to win. DraftKings is safe, secure, and you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code BIG870 and get 56-1 odds on any team. Bet just $5 or more and win $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's code BIG870 this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. Full terms and conditions. Partner Golden Nugget Lakes Office. Problem? Call 787-770-7869. If you know it or not, but proven quality sleep can boost your immune system and keep you from getting sick. You really can. I get proven quality sleep every night because I have a sleep number bed. Sleep number beds are two mattresses in one that each person gets to pick their own sleep number. I have a sleep number of 90. I like that bed nice and firm, and then I pick sleep IQ. Based on a top score of 100, it's 95, so I know I'm getting proven quality sleep. Sleep IQ, to be clear. Proven quality sleep can be life-changing, and you can get it. Don't miss the Ultimate Sleep Number event weekend sale. Save 50% on the Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed plus special financing benefits. Monday, February 7th. It's only at a Sleep Number store near you in Metairie on Beth's next to Moses Grill, Covington Highway 21 in front of Woodbridge, and home on 1731 Martin Luther King, Magnolia Square. Subject to credit approval, minimum monthly payments required.
leafnumber.com for all the details.
For Mardi Gras supplies, head to Jefferson Variety Stores, specializing in specialty beads, throw beads, trinkets, bows, masks, hats, and plenty more. At Jefferson Variety Stores, open 7 days a week. Visit them at 239 Irish Avenue in Old Jefferson or online at jeffersonvariety.com.
Okay, I have Mike on the phone who is from New Orleans who would like to compliment you. So I think maybe you should take his call.
No setup, huh?
Hey, y'all, it's here, and you're ready to celebrate. Here's what's happening around the state. February 5th, African American History Parade in Shreveport. Groove the Beaver Mardi Gras Parade in Mansfield. Wells in-town traditional Mardi Gras run and parade. Linden Boxing Carnival and Parade. And Groove Darvon Mardi Gras in Palmerville. So make your plans. It's a leg full tall relay.
This is Lieutenant Governor Joe Nicaud. Plan your road trip at LouisianaGiveATrip.com.
The wait is over. Online sports betting is now legal in Louisiana. There are a lot of choices out there, but I recommend you try Bet Rivers Sportsbook. I've been a long-time fan of the Bet Rivers team because they put players first. Their customer service and commitment to your experience are second to none. Download the Bet Rivers app or go to BetRivers.com today and make your legal bet in Louisiana. Must be 21. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-877-770-STOP.
If you have an unpaid tax debt to the IRS but you can't pay, please hear this special notice. Specially approved IRS relief programs designed to aid delinquent taxpayers are now in effect that can significantly improve your financial situation. Depending on your circumstances, you may qualify to have your tax problem resolved in your favor and may even
I have another Mike on the phone from Waveland who has a question about small claims court.
established by Community Tax for you to call and see if you qualify at 800-256-4180. If you owe the IRS back taxes that you can't afford to pay, don't let the IRS trick you into thinking you have no way out. Our highly accredited tax professionals will let you know what you qualify for and how much you can save. We may be able to stop all liens, garnishments, levies, and save you thousands. Call and see if you qualify for this taxpayer relief at 800-256-4180. 800-256-4180. 800-256-4180. Community Tax. Who's your tax guy?
Hey, it's David Spade. I'm Dana Carvey here. Join us for our new podcast, Fly on the Wall. Every week, we're going to catch up with an alum from the world of SNL.
Old buddies like Chris Rock, Tina Fey, Tom Hanks, Martin Short, Kevin Neal, and many more. We'll join and talk SNL, spend the days on the show, and days how they got on the show.
Follow and listen to Fly on the Wall, a presentation of Cadence 13. Available now for free on the Odyssey app or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Man, I'm getting good.
12 a.m.
No joke, folks. That was pretty good.
I don't know, but I'm just saying, it just reminded me that I got a call in the night.
With Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on WWL and Odyssey Station. Connect now on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Let's go to the phone lines. Who we got, Doug? Mike. Hey, Mike. You got all things legal. What you got for us, brother?
Hey, how's it going, y'all?
Good.
I was wondering, is there a timeline that the insurance companies have to send your recoverable depreciation if that carrier is now part of, I guess they went insolvent, so they're with the Louisiana
Insurance Guarantee Association.
Does it change from 30 days? Or is it still within that same time frame?
Well, the problem is, the 30-day time frame is a mandate that's subject to a penalty under the standard homeowners policy, or in any insurance policy, but it applies to the homeowners policies. Unfortunately, it does not apply to LIGA, to the Guarantee Association. And so once it's transferred to LIGA, all bets are off. Now, I did hear a rumor, and you can't trust it, but somebody said that if the payment was essentially completed, or not the payment, but the claim was essentially completed, and they were just waiting to make payment, that LIGA will go ahead and make those payments. And so, once they get caught up, the 3, 4, 5, 6 months that it takes to get the claim settled and get everything, get the claims facilities set up and get the claims reviewed and evaluated, they said they will start making those payments. So if you submitted recoverable depreciation, and somewhere in the original claims report says, yeah, we should need to go ahead and pay this recoverable depreciation. The rumor is that they're going to go ahead and pay those claims first, and then those that are still in dispute, they'll go back and look at the dispute and, see if they need to come forward with a payment. But keep in mind, there are no real time frames with the Guarantee Association.
Okay, thank you. And also, I want to thank y'all for what y'all do. I had another thing that, this is just crazy with the insurance companies too. And my story is, I had a claim, total loss, everything was gutted. And that adjuster basically told me, yeah, you have a $7,000 claim. That was in December. I called y'all, asked for some advice. I got kicked up to 3 different managers. And then until I found the advice of sanctioning, I know my rights, acted in bad faith from you guys. The next day I get a phone call and they're like, oh, we're so sorry. It went from a $7,000 claim to a $65,000 claim in a maxed up policy. And it makes me mad to think like, what if it's that didn't know what to do and just like, oh man, that's what it is. And it's just like, are you kidding me? And it was all because there was one adjuster that was just like, nope. And then, I called y'all and with y'all advice, fought it and it went through. But it's just crazy, man. Like next day they were like, oh yeah, we're so sorry. Bam! It went from $7,000 to $65,000 like that. Once I mentioned, some of the things y'all advise to try to move it along, and that's just crazy. That makes me mad in a way because how many people are just like, well, I guess that's what it is,
Exactly, and that's part of the metric, right? We're going to just deny, and this percentage of people are going to just go away. This. I hate to say, little old lady from Laplace called me, and she sounded like the little bird in Tweety and Sylvester, her grandmother. Just sweetest, nicest lady. And I'm thinking about doing this one gratis because they just gave her the runaround. She says, I'm 82 years old. I'm living on Social Security. My house is paid off. I don't have the money to fix my house, and this is what they told me I'm going to get. And, I said, we'll send somebody over and take care of it. But those are the kinds of people, it's almost like elder abuse, right? You know what the rules are. You know what the law is as an insurance company. Just treat people fairly. And if, and so, yeah, her claim ended up being 3 times what they wanted to pay her. And so we've submitted it and we'll see where it goes. But it's so frustrating to hear your story, but that's why you have to be armed with knowledge is power, right? So you have to be armed with a little knowledge of, hey, look, I know what's going on. I know what my rights are. And I'm going to take the next step if I have to.
Right. Well, I appreciate y'all because y'all definitely helped me. And if I couldn't get headway, I would have been calling y'all. But I appreciate the show and y'all do a great service for everybody.
Thank you.
Good luck. She helped me wrap that claim up. And if anybody needs help, I definitely would recommend them calling you guys and signing up with y'all if they can't get any headway because it is just a shame, what the insurance companies are doing sometimes when they just know they can,
Right.
So, but I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks for calling. The best analogy is if you're playing football and you're on offense, you can't expect the defense to score a touchdown for you. You're going to have to strap your helmet on and you have to knock some heads to get your insurance money. There you go. All right, let's go to our final break, Sunseri. Albert Nicaud, your weekend warriors. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
Looking for the perfect Valentine's gift that'll treasure forever and then some?
Okay, we have Mike from Cleveland. Information about small claims court.
Remind her of you. Listen to this online review from Bree. At Oakland Heart, the combination of super high-quality pieces
You're going to have in your neighborhood about 6 minutes to cover everything right to the end of the show. All right.
Save yourself some time and head straight to Oakland Heart. Is Bree the best or what? We offer a truly impressive, in other words, huge selection of fine Swiss timepieces, as well as the latest collections from the world's most sought-after designers. We're talking David Yurman, Penny Prevost, Mikimoto Pearls, and Marco Buccigo. Or how about an exclusive Oakland Heart design, created by our award-winning master craftsman? Celebrate your love this Valentine's Day. Have her singing, "There's a great work of art in every box from Oakland Heart" on Metairie Road.
Hey, Louisiana, sports betting is officially here, and there's no better place to get in the action.
Last spot is Babbel, and we'll go live after that.
Right now, new customers can place their first bet risk-free, and if you don't win, you get up to $1,000 back in site credit. Use the promo code ABEAR. That's right now.
I texted Tommy, I said, do we have a baby yet? Because it was 15 hours ago.
Right.
And he said, no, at National France.
When you win, FanDuel will pay your winnings in as little as 2 hours. See for yourself why
Maybe they sent it home.
Sign up for the FanDuel get started with up to $1,000. That's promo code ABEAR. Official partner of WWL Radio.
21 plus present in Louisiana. First off, real money wins your own refund issued at
It's not even. That's in the office at Drago's. That's in that.
Yeah, but she's going in.
So I built the company.
Maybe they're leaving to go to the hospital, but why would they be at the...
what we say we're going to do when we say we're going to do it. And give me the VIN.com. If we don't beat a CarMax offer that you have, we'll send you a check for $100. Show up at your house, check in hand, pay off. It's that simple. Give me the VIN.com. America's best car buyer.
File in a way that fits you and get the refund you deserve. Guaranteed. Jackson Hewitt Tax Pros can help you find thousands worth of new tax credits. Schedule an appointment with one of our tax pros and learn more at jacksonhewitt.com.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then try Babbel. Text Babbel to 64000 and try it for free. Babbel works around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you are in 15 minutes a day. You'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Practice short conversations like Babbel is created by language experts. And remember what you learn. Babbel is a new language. Babbel, language for life. We celebrated 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free. Text Babbel to 64000 and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel to 64000.
Driving up to go off, and Aaron saw the truck. She said, "Oh my God, I'm dead."
WWL. Consult with Nicaud and Sunseri now on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870. And don't forget to rewind on the Odyssey app.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal for our last segment. Let's go to phone lines. Let's go to Mike. Is that correct, Doug?
Yes.
Mike, what do you have from Waveland? What do you have for us, brother?
I'm embroiled in a small claims court suit. It doesn't really matter. But because I'm a person who ended up not showing up, I got a directed verdict in my favor. 9 months now after the fact, that person's never paid, even though I've pressed them pretty hard. And so now there is an attorney involved who wants to allege that they were never served in the first place. In small claims courts, they don't really do process service; they just simply do mail. So they want to set aside the judgment and have me start this whole rigmarole over again. Just curious how I can do something like that, because there's going to be a hearing to set this whole thing aside.
So what you need to do is, and you're in Mississippi, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So what you need to do, I'm sure posted online is a searchable version of Mississippi laws. And I don't know if you're with the Justice of the Peace or a small claims court through the courts, but you'll have to go search, unless you want to get a lawyer involved, but you'll have to go search the laws and see what they say regarding service of small claims court cases. And the fact is that it was sent, and whether or not it was served under the laws of Mississippi, and whether it was properly served by mail or at the last known address, or whatever the case may be. So you're going to have to look at that statute and see if you followed that statute, and if so, when they go try to have it overturned, then you're going to need to cite that statute and say, Judge, we did this in accordance with the laws of the state of Mississippi, and here's the letter we sent. We sent it certified mail, or whatever the case may be. Was it signed for? Was it certified mail? Was it just regular mail? How was the service?
Well, the service is provided by the court, not by me, and they don't do the same as a superior court, process service. So, I got all the notifications they sent me. I don't know why the other person have.
Well, yeah, what you're going to have to do is find out, what's the basis for his non-service? Was it the wrong address? Was it, was he out of line?
They're just claiming it never showed up.
Yeah, okay.
And I mean, and there's no way to prove it since nobody has to sign for the stuff that shows up. So I personally think they're just trying to prolong the agony for themselves, but that's another story.
Yeah. I'm sure it's not the first time that particular judge had that particular issue. And, if there was some kind of, if you could nail him down a lot of times, and find out, he's saying it just never came. So not an issue.
And if that was the case, then everybody would have that excuse. Say, "Oh, I never got the mail. It was lost in the mail. My dog ate my homework." Right?
Exactly the phrase I used when I read the notice.
Right.
I'm going to guess that's a well-known legal strategy, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to check to make sure that I got all my ducks in a row.
We'll double check.
Can I force this guy to be sworn in and have to testify under oath to that effect?
Yes, of course. And he will. They'll have to do that to prove his defense. That, I didn't get a letter, I didn't get notice, I didn't get whatever. And of course, constitutionally, you have to get notice.
Yeah, I agree with that. But generally speaking, being under oath, which obviously carries a perjury issue, maybe clarifies the mind a little bit.
It might, but it might not, because obviously he's going forward with this whole argument. And listen, make sure you go check the record. I'd maybe go run over to the courthouse and look at the record and see what the sheriff's office or whoever it was that was responsible for serving the pleading, what was filed into the record, some sort of affidavit or some sort of acknowledgement saying, I received this, I did this, I put it in the mail to this address, whether it was certified mail, we got the green card back. Just go see what's in the record to help bolster your case. Say, look, they did everything they were supposed to do. Here's what the statute says. Here's what's in the record from the constable or whoever served it. And this is proper service pursuant to this. And I want to maintain the judgment.
Got you covered. Thanks very much for your advice. I appreciate it.
All right.
Okay. Good luck to you. Let us know how it turned out.
Yeah. And Albert, in Louisiana, what's the limits for justice of peace? As far
it's $5,000 justice of the peace, and then you've got some city courts that are either $20,000 or $25,000 in jurisdictional limit. Some of them are 10, and so you got to look around. It varies parish by parish. So but those are served through the constable.
All right. Well, that's a wrap on All Things Legal. We'll be back next week. So be good, be blessed, and we'll see you next week on All Things Legal.